Well, hey guys, Thorzax here. I wanted to put together a little video about a particular pistol that I picked up, and I just want to go ahead and throw my experience and my opinion out there. Okay, if you ever get a chance in a gun shop, pick up a Ruger Mark II, even if it's the smaller sporter barrel version with the fixed sights and all that. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. These can really be fixed up to shoot very well. What you're really getting into when you start looking price-wise in the way of these is the amount of accessories that they put on the gun. Not necessarily whether or not the gun is more accurate or anything else like that. You'd be amazed how well these shoot. If you go ahead and put some adjustable sight or a red dot on here, and give this a trigger job, this will shoot like a match gun. I mean, you'll eventually be able to put them all in the X ring and keep them in the 10 ring at 50 yards with this gun, just with the one hand. I'm telling you, these guns will shoot. The reason why I put this together was about price point. A lot of guys are looking at 22 caliber pistols, want to get in for the right price. And now 22 caliber pistols can vary anywhere from $150 all the way up to $2,000. I mean, it all depends on what you're buying it for and what you're going to use it for. The one drawback I'll say about the Ruger series is that they are a cheap gun. Okay, they're built cheaply. There's less machining involved in these. There's stamped metal parts that are braked and then they're welded, and there's Ruger maximized their manufacturing to meet a price that just about anybody can afford with these guns. And it's the bolt, for instance, the bolt is made out of one piece of round stock and then heat treated. The same thing with the receiver. The receiver is just nothing but a piece of pipe. The barrel, they've turned these barrels down on a machine that just spits them out and then button rifles them. And then the rest of the gun, it's very easily assembled. There's hardly any fitting here. Okay, I want to show you something. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the slide back, lock it back. All right, as you can see, there's no magazine in it and there is no round in the chamber. Okay, so we're totally safe here. So what we're going to do, let the bolt go forward. All right, and I want to show you a little bit about this trigger. This is what I'm talking about when you get into build quality. Now I'm pressing on that trigger. And I'm pressing. And I'm pressing. Up. Did you see it move? Now did you see that? That moved. Now the sear and the hammer are stuck. Okay, they're stuck in that spot there. Alright? This is where the Burma Road comes into a trigger. It doesn't matter how heavy the trigger is. It's how it breaks has a lot to do with it. Okay, this is what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to avoid a trigger like this one. And if I pull it past that point, she goes off. Okay, so when I line these sights up, okay, I've got to overcome that Burma Road in there as I'm pressing along there, as it's dragging along and creeping along on the sears until it breaks. So it's an okay trigger for just goofing around, shooting at squirrels and tin cans, but as far as an accuracy pistol, this isn't going to do it. Okay, and there are some guys out there that seem to think that light trigger pulls are all about match pistols, and that's not true. That absolutely is not true. I can have a 5.5 pound trigger on a pistol and still be able to get them in the X ring if it breaks clean. If it breaks clean, we're in there. It doesn't matter the amount of pounds, it's whether or not it's breaking clean and you've gotten rid of an awful lot of that slop that's in there. Because you can train yourself, how hard to hold onto the gun while you're shooting. So, how to control the gun, how to get behind the gun and actually drive the gun while you're shooting. And your trigger pull is more of a thing that when you come down on your sights and you come down on your target in the blur out there, you can focus clearly on the front sight and line it up in the rear sight and squeeze, okay? Commit to your squeeze and boom, then it goes off. That's what you want. My other Ruger here, which is a daily driver. Okay, this is my beater gun. This is the one that I go out and I goof around with, and it's actually a backup that I keep in my gun box in case one of my more expensive guns breaks down. I've got this where I can go ahead and finish the match out. Now, Ruger did do one thing on these pistols, and it has everything to do with that feed ramp that's in there. Okay, the feed ramp and the magazine angle, these guns will digest just about any ammunition out there. I don't know how many times you go to a gun counter and a guy will have a 22 caliber autoloader there, a cheaper one, and it fails to load. I mean, he's getting stovepipes, he's getting all kinds of stuff going on with it, and the first thing out of that gun sales guy is, well, have you tried Stingers? I'm going to tell you what, Stingers are a great round, for hunting and that sort of stuff, but I don't want to dedicate my gun being reliable just around Stingers. I want something that's going to work, and I'm going to tell you what, these Rugers, they do feed ammunition reliably. I will say that. Now this pistol here, I've done a trigger job. I've smoothed out, the sears. I've smoothed out the hammer sear. I've done some work to this to get it. I put an over travel type, trigger in there, because when you squeeze the trigger, you want the trigger to stop when the hammer falls. You don't want any movement past that point when the hammer falls, because it'll cause you to dip the front sight. You'll shoot low, or low and to the left, or low and to the right. That right there is an over travel problem. So, but this pistol, as you can see, there is no round in the chamber. There's no magazine. Okay, now let the bolt go forward. All right, that trigger is right there. I mean, it is right there, and this is with the stock spring. This is the stock spring from Ruger. So all you guys out there that are saying, oh, your mainspring, and you start screwing around with the mainspring, and in 45s you can reduce. A 45 trigger job is a whole different thing, and the same thing with a revolver. But on these Rugers, there's no need to change that out. That's not going to gain you anything. Anyway, so that's kind of like what I wanted to kind of say, is that as far as a buyer's guide, these Mk-2s, if you can get one of these for like $200 at a gun shop, pick it up. These are great guns. You can get a match type trigger like that, and you can put it together, and you can do mostly all the work yourself, as long as you have some sort of mechanical way that you think. I mean, and you should be able to do the job quite well. But like I said, you want to avoid this. See, I pulled that trigger and it moved, and the hammer hasn't dropped yet. Now, if I go ahead and say recock it, pull the trigger a few times, go back, I can duplicate what I just did. See, that's moved. Now I'm up on the sear. You can't shoot like that accurately. Like I said, you get into the whole thing about build quality, how fast They're going to make these, put them in the box, and get them out to, you know, the stores. You know, they're out to sell guns. You know, and that's it. You know, I have a Series 80 Colt pistol that I absolutely have a long, intimate relationship with, as far as trigger, as far as rebuilding, as far as things that I found out about Colt manufacturing. And I'm going to tell you something, a Colt pistol, even though it's a Colt and it's got the little prancing horse on the side, the bottom line is that Colt isn't all that. Okay? There was a time when Colt was one of the top gun producers, but during the 80s, they had a downfall, and as far as I'm concerned, Colt has continued that downfall. And the reason why is because of their management, the people that own them, Colt Industries. You know, they make ships. They're investing in all kinds of other stuff other than just, you know, manufacturing guns. And besides that, Colt's bread and butter has always been getting government contracts. They have never cared about individual sales ever since the 70s. They haven't cared at all. As soon as they were able to produce the AR-15 or M16 and the M16A1 and the M16A2 and so on and so forth, they have forgotten all about, you know, their public sales. They don't care. You know, that's just the way it is. So, anyway, like I said, this will shoot just as good as this. Bottom dollar. Believe it or not, actually, this right here, the bull barrel is actually kind of, you know, it'll fatigue you after a while. Some people say it's for the steadiness and all that. Come on. That extra weight out there is not really going to steady me that much. Actually, to tell you the truth, I can do better with a shorter barrel, with a lighter barrel, because there's less effort, okay? All I have to do is focus on my grip. So, matter of fact, back in the day, Gil Hubbard Guns, he made a module that would slip onto these that added weight. It was just a round piece of steel with a hole drilled in it, and you can get it with a compensator, and you can slip it onto the end. It had a front side already put on it, and you take the rear side off, and it came with a pin, and you just pin it right to the front sight, right where that little pin is right there. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I'll turn it. Yeah, you take that pin out, take the front side out, and then you put that module on there and then pin it. But there were guys that won gold medals with this pistol, just the way it is, you know, with a fixed up rear sight, maybe a Bomar rear sight on it. That's it. And of course, trigger work. So anyway, that's all I got. Wanted to put that out there. The next time you're out in the gun shop, keep your eyes peeled for these. They're great guns. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next video.